I'm Starborn. Remember, to be a star, you need to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not be afraid of the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. If you've been looking at our website, starborninstitute.org, you'd already know that the title of tonight's show is A Weak Start. And that is because 2 days ago, we had a full moon at 2 degrees of Aries. But the aspects were rather harsh to that full moon. And since Aries does rule new beginnings, it simply means that there can be a lot of challenges that you might have to face if you begin something now, and that's why the new start could be weak. However, by the holidays, there can be an amazing strength that comes from the result of you making a new start now. So don't be put off by the challenges. Instead, keep going on something, because it will get stronger by the holidays, and they are just around the corner. Aries is not only the sign of new beginnings, Aries rules the pioneer, the person that wants to get out in front and do things their way, or a person who has a lot of vision and isn't afraid to sort of go after the impossible or go after what's around the next bend. So Aries rules the head, and it also rules baldness, and it rules headaches, and it also rules strokes. And Aries can be like to be very active, and they can be rather impulsive. And so they're really good at making new starts, or they really want to be in at the beginning of something. It is not a finishing sign, but it is great for getting something underway, because Aries have a lot of energy since their ruler is Mars. And so this is a time when we can all, since there is a full moon there, be really contemplating making some sort of new start. After all, the full moon is a lot of light, but it'll be a weak one due to challenges. One of the challenges could be that there are no other planets in the fire signs. There's nothing in Leo, and there's nothing in Sagittarius, so there's nothing to fortify that full moon. And we know under a full moon, the moon opposes the sun. And so that full moon in Aries is being opposed not just by the sun in Libra now, which rules the law and partnerships and fairness and balance and compromise, but Mercury is also in Libra, and those two planets are conjuncting each other. These 3 planets opposing each other are also being squared by 2 other planets. Saturn is in Capricorn, it's the ruler of the sign, and it is joining Pluto there, so they're squaring the full moon in Aries, and they are also squaring the Sun and Mercury in Libra. And so that simply means, with these 5 planets in a harsh T-cross, that some of the challenges that you could be facing if you want to make a new start could be the result of indecision or confusion. That's what happens when the Sun and the Moon oppose each other. And it can also be that since Saturn, which is the strongest planet of those 5, is a planet that denotes having to work very hard and to keep at it until you get it right, it simply means that you may have to meet very high expectations by people who really know what they're doing and know what they want. Or you would have to go through perhaps very laborious procedures step by step in order to get everything right. Or you could also be facing some sort of budget cuts or some sort of legal problem, and that is because Libra is, the Sun and Mercury in Libra are opposing the full moon in Aries, and Libra does rule the law. So there are all kinds of reasons why you could make a weak start right now due to these different challenges. But I would say that the greater challenge even is because Mars is in Aquarius, and which is a fixed sign and rules our future, and it is setting up another harsh T-cross among the fixed signs. So Mars is in Aquarius at 4 degrees today, and it is exactly conjunct that unlucky south node of the moon, also at 4 degrees. And Mars is squaring Uranus in Taurus, a fixed financial sign, and it is also squaring Venus and Jupiter in Scorpio, the other fixed financial sign. And so that means that, first of all, this is not a good time to get in an argument about money. Try to avoid that at all costs, because there won't be any winners in an argument, so you may as well save your breath. And it can mean that there can be a lot of dissension or disagreement about financial payments or the value of assets right now. And that's why you shouldn't fight about that. Maybe you should just cool it a little bit on those subjects right now, because any kind of financial war or disagreement right now that gets heated, remember Mars is involved in that, could result in creating some sort of havoc, or could really ravage a new beginning, almost destroy it. And that's another reason why it could be a weak beginning. And that is why you should sort of avoid any arguments, particularly about money, if you can. But the planets are not static. They move on, and so can we. And in fact, the reason why there can be some amazing strength to your weak start that you initiate right now, and that strength can come about by the holidays, is because there is a very major planet changing sign soon. And it is that Jupiter, that planet of benevolence and goodness, is going to go into Sagittarius, the sign that it rules, so it's very strong there, on November 8th, and it will continue in that sign for a whole year. Jupiter always stays in a sign about a year. And so it will begin to trine, right around the holiday time, it will begin to favorably trine the sign of Aries, which rules new beginnings, where the full moon was 2 days ago, and it will trine the sign of Leo as well. And since these are fire signs, it simply means that 2019 will be a more active year. Things really will get underway. And that is why I urge you not to abandon a new start, even if it doesn't start very well and you're facing a lot of challenges. Don't give up. And that is because these fire signs are going to get some wonderful support right around the holiday time, and it will last throughout next year. And so that is why you should be patient, and you should take time for other things as well. And that is because you have to remember what else is important in your life, such as other things that you enjoy, or certainly people that you want to share things with that you care about. So go ahead and take your time, because a weak start isn't going to speed up. It's something that has to be done rather deliberately as you face every single challenge as you go along. But 2019 is really going to be a good year if you sort of stick with it through thick and thin, because your weak start will begin to develop a good pair of legs, and it and you will be better off and much stronger for the challenges that you're facing now. It's almost as if you have to face most of your challenges first and then sort of get into a groove where you can advance forward in the coming year. All right, what does this mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Well, Aries, 2 days ago, the full moon was in your sign, and I would say that even though you can really have your mind on making some sort of new start, you will be meeting stiff resistance and a lot of challenges right now, and that is because the full moon is being opposed by the Sun and Mercury in Libra, so you could be looking at a partnership problem or a legal difficulty, or someone could be demanding that you compromise a little bit more. And then you could be facing the high expectations and demands of people in management, or of policies, government policies or corporate policies that demand that you sort of conform and sort of up your game. And that isn't the way an Aries likes to work. An Aries likes to do their own thing. But I think that you will meet challenges right now, and I don't think you're going to have much choice except to face them right now. The good part is that when Jupiter does go into Sagittarius in November, right around the holidays, things are going to change, and there can be more support for your new beginning, or you can be more sure of yourself after you've met these challenges, and you can be stronger and more convinced of the direction you want to go in. And so there's nothing wrong with meeting some demands or delays right now, or facing some indecision or confusion, because you can sort of work all that out by the holidays and then really have a good year next year. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Well, Taurus, this is a time when you do have to be really, really careful, particularly not to get in a fight about money, And that is because there is a harsh T-cross in the fixed signs, and that is being set up by the fact that Mars is in Aquarius, the sign of the future. It is exactly conjunct the unlucky south node of the moon today. So there could be somebody who's sort of grouchy, and they can be wanting to make your life miserable or discuss things about the future that you are not in agreement with, because that Mars is squaring Uranus in your sign. Uranus will be in your sign for 7 years, and it is a planet of sudden surprising change. And so you really need to instead focus on the long haul, Taurus. And the reason why is that some money that you had been used to getting may not exactly be available, or costs could be higher and sort of eat up that money, because Venus and Jupiter in Scorpio are opposing your sun. But Pluto and Saturn in Capricorn are trining your sun and will continue to do that until 2020. So you have to keep the long game in mind, or your long range goals. And even if you're not going to get everything that you want right now, if you're wanting to make a new start, which you could be, because that full moon in Aries is right behind your sun sign, still, I think other people can see that you're thinking of that, and that may not be, the timing may not be right on that, Taurus, because it's the long-term goals that are going to give you security for a long time to come. And it means staying steady with something, sort of staying in your groove. And so branching out may not be, this may not be the right time to do that, Taurus. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Well, Gemini, the planets are starting to build up in air signs right now. Well, that's great, because now we have the Sun and Mercury, your own ruler, trining your sun sign. And that simply means that you could be getting some favorable legal news, or a partner could be getting some good news. And that's because Mercury does rule news, and it is your ruler, and it's in good aspect to your sun sign right now. So I think that something, even a treaty or a truce or a compromise of some sort, can work in your favor right now, Gemini, which is good. And then Mars in Aquarius, which is rather beleaguered right now, but still, it's trining your sun. It's not hurting you. And so there can be people that want to force you to move quickly based on their own motivation to get you to sort of do their bidding. I would not do that. But they're not out to hurt you either, Gemini. They're sort of out to use you, but not really to hurt you. And even the full moon in Aries is sextiling your sun. And so I don't think you can lose right now, Gemini. You are a versatile sign anyway, so you can sort of shift or move in different directions. And if somebody is making a new start, even if it's a weak one, it should benefit you, particularly as it gets stronger. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Well, Cancer, yours is a cardinal sign, and the full moon in Aries squares your sun. The Sun and Mercury in Libra also square your sun, and Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn oppose your sun sign. So the lights are not with you right now. They are squaring your sign, and the strongest planet of the 5 in the cardinal signs is Saturn, and it is opposing your sign. You will have to meet the high expectations or demands of people or of organizations that are insisting that you take every single step in order and do things right now. That can be laborious and even, time consuming, but you'll have to do it. So you may have to listen to other people telling you what to do right now, and that may make you uncomfortable. But the good news is that I don't think you're going to be hurt financially at all, because Venus and Jupiter in Scorpio are trining your sun, and so is Neptune in Pisces. So I think on the one hand, you are going to be challenged, and if either you or someone else is making a somewhat weak start, I don't think that you're in agreement with that right now, but I think that you shouldn't discourage that. Maybe you could help support that financially in some way, and maybe that would take the pressure off you as well, Cancer. So it looks like the finances are good, but it looks like you're still going to be meeting some challenges right now. If you're making a weak start, keep at it, because it will get stronger by the holidays, and you'll be glad you stuck with it, particularly in 2019. Okay, what does it mean to a Leo? Well, Leo, that full moon in Aries trines your sun. So I think you, Leo, are thinking of making a new start. I mean, that's really on your mind, I think, right now. And because it was a full moon, I think you could see the full possibility of that. And it's trining your sun, so that's good. So somebody could make you a pretty nice offer or ask you if you want to do something new or try something new. And, you know, I'm sure that you'd like to say yes, particularly if there's more money involved in it. However, the problem is that Mars in Aquarius is opposing your sun sign, Uranus in Taurus is squaring your sun sign, and Venus and Jupiter in Scorpio are also squaring your sun sign. You do need the money, Leo, or you need the money to be managed better right now. And so you can be facing some financial challenges since there is a harsh T-cross among the fixed signs. But at the same time, that saving grace is that there could be a new opportunity on your horizon. And I wouldn't argue about that because you have nothing to lose by trying it out, Leo. You could at least try it out. And even if it's a small start or a weak start, it is aspected to get stronger. And remember, your sign is going to be trined by Jupiter in Sagittarius by the holidays. So I would go ahead and give something a new try right now if you can. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? Well, Virgo, this is a time when I think that the full moon in Aries may not affect you too much. In other words, you could have your mind on maybe making a new start, but that is probably not your main concern. And that is because Uranus in Taurus is trining your sun, and so are Saturn and Pluto. So I think you've got your mind on more practical, everyday, common sense things and sort of getting the job done. And that is what you should have your mind on right now, Virgo, because that full moon is 150 degrees away from your sun or in conjunct. And so you may say to yourself, oh, I don't think I'm going to start this now because it's not the right time, or I can't do that and everything else I want to do. And you'd probably be correct about that, Virgo. So I would sort of stick to mundane tasks and to watching your budget real carefully so that you could afford a new start maybe around the holidays or next year. All right, what does it mean to a Libra? Well, Libra, the Sun and Mercury are now in your sign, which is great. And they're being fortified by a trine from that Mars in Aquarius. So you could really have your mind on some future project. It might represent a weak start, though, because the full moon in Aries is opposing the Sun and Mercury in your sign. But they're very strong. They're conjuncting each other, and they're being trined or fortified by Mars. So I think that if you have your mind on making some sort of new start, or else thinking about bringing in a partner to make a new start, your sign rules partnership, that's a good idea. However, you'll still have to meet high expectations. A start could be a little bit slow or confusing or delayed in one way or another because Saturn and Pluto are in Capricorn are squaring the Sun and Mercury in your sign. So I mean, you'd have to get everything pretty well lined up, but you could go ahead and do that, and either before the holidays or right after the holidays, that new start could sort of grow legs and really get a lot stronger, and then you could go ahead with it. So this is a good time for you to be thinking about making a new start. It may not be the right time to get it all in motion, but at least you could head in that direction. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Well, Scorpio, this is a time when I think that you are going to be looking the money over real carefully. And it could be sources of funding, because your sign doesn't rule necessarily how you make your money, but it rules managing money that's coming from another source, such as grants or inheritance or insurance funds or increased credit, for instance, or handling a tax situation or debt of some sort. So all of that you could be looking at pretty closely right now, and that is because you may need to. Uranus in Taurus is opposing Venus and Jupiter in your sign, and in October, Venus will go retrograde in your sign, and that means you're going to have to redo something or rethink something, and it could be financial terms of a situation, or it could be the evaluation of assets. So this is not a good time for you to be arguing about that, because Mars, your own ruler, is in Aquarius and squaring your sun. So I think there can be a contentious argument that could pretty much ravage a new beginning and make it even weaker. And that is why I urge you not to talk or discuss money with anybody right now. You do have Venus and Jupiter in your sign. Those are wonderful planets. So maintain your popularity right now, Scorpio, and don't stoop to arguments because you're not going to be able to win them anyway. So avoid them if you can. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarian? Well, Sagittarius, this is a time when you can be contemplating making some sort of new start. And I think you should think a little harder about that, Sagittarius, because it might be, even if it's a weak one, it could be exactly the right one, because the full moon in Aries 2 days ago was trining your sun sign, and Jupiter is about to come into your sun sign in November and stay there for a whole year. So this is a very good time for you to try to look for where the pitfalls might be in a new start. Believe me, there will be some, because there are some stiff challenges to that full moon in Aries. But that full moon isn't hurting you, Sagittarius. It's just that for one thing, you may not know who or what to believe. You may not have enough facts at your disposal right now because Neptune in Pisces is squaring your sun sign. However, when Jupiter comes into Sagittarius, you may be able next year to follow a higher path or to be associated with a more noble cause. And that would be good. So I think that you should pursue at least thinking about what could go wrong in a new beginning so that you can anticipate these challenges before they occur, and then you can get rid of them a little faster. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Well, Capricorn, this is a time when I think that it would be maybe a little wiser for you to sort of put something on hold right now. And that's because even if you want to make a new start, it's going to be a weak start right now because the full moon in Aries, it was squaring Saturn and Pluto in your sign, and the Sun and Mercury in Libra are also squaring your sun sign right now. And so even though you can be very sure of what you want to do and you can be sort of in charge of it, you're still going to have to follow laborious policies and procedures, or you're going to have to meet the high expectations of another organization or of some leadership that really knows what it's doing. And also you have to contemplate the possibility of a legal problem or a partnership issue, as well as the fact that the new beginning could be a little bit weak. And that's all right, because it's going to gain amazing strength by the holidays. So for you to just put something on pause right now and think, sort of get your ducks in a row a little bit better, there's nothing wrong with that. Your sign is very strong. It is just meeting a sort of a clash of the lights right now. And that's why I would sort of take a time out right now and rethink things, or just quietly work on them a little bit, some of those challenges, so that you can get rid of them. Okay, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Well, Aquarius, Mars is in your sign, and today it is exactly conjunct that unlucky south node of the moon. So either you could be in a bad mood, Aquarius, and that bad mood could stem from the fact that there are planets in the fixed financial signs that you are squaring your sun sign. So you can't quite get your hands on the money that you want. And that is because Uranus in Taurus is squaring your sun sign, and so are Venus and Jupiter in Scorpio. And so that could either put you in a bad mood, or if somebody else is involved in wanting to get their hands on money, that's not possible either, or else it's not enough money. So there can be a real contentious atmosphere or indecision or confusion about a financial matter or the value of assets right now, and that could really bother you. But I don't think you can do too much about it right now, except you may be able to consult a legal source, because the Sun and Mercury in Libra, which rules the law, are trining your Sun. I wouldn't argue about finances right now, no matter what. You won't win the argument, and in fact, you could make something even worse. So I would be real quiet right now and instead consult others. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Well, Pisces, this is a time when if you want to be agreeable, particularly about financial matters, so that possibly you could make some sort of new start, I would work on that, Pisces. That's possible, because Venus and Jupiter and Scorpio are trining your Sun, and those are wonderful planets. And Neptune is in your Sun sign, and the full moon in Aries 2 days ago was right in front of your Sun sign. It was not well supported and it was really being challenged. So you may want to make some sort of new beginning, but of course there will be challenges to it. If it involves money, yours is one of the lucky signs that probably could find some extra money around to make a new start once the challenges have all been met. So don't give up on anything right now, Pisces. Even if you have to meet high demands, or you have to go through a lot of steps, or you could even be facing some sort of legal dilemma, still, if you try to face those challenges now, things will get better by the holidays, and you could make that new start soon. It's just that you too will be having to face challenges, but you don't have to argue about money, because I don't think anybody wants to argue with you either. Everybody does have their mind on some new start, even if it's a weak one. So I would go ahead and contemplate that, and maybe even just take one step at a time to do it. All right, thanks so much for tuning in. Remember, you can see the show, read our blog, and hear our podcast on our website, starborninstitute.org. Bye.